Hey,
Hey everybody. Hey.
back on
Welcome.
episode 6.
Episode 6. Hi everybody.
Yes.
Welcome back. Let's say hello to all our supporters, my dad.
Yes.
Yeah. Huey,
Huey,
Uncle Jay,
Uncle Jay,
Uncle Mike.
Uncle Mike.
Who else?
That's it.
That's it? There's only
That's
3?
it. That's
Okay.
3. Let's
All
go.
right. Hey y'all. All right. Today's topic. We're getting a little touchy. It's a little how you say people don't like to talk about it kind of thing. Taboo.
Taboo.
I guess taboo subject. Religion. As most of you know, you three that listen, my dad is a very devout Catholic man. Sent his youngest son to Catholic school.
I did.
For 6 years you sent me.
That's right.
Yeah. All of his kids are baptized and have their first communion. Yeah, my dad is a very, very devout Catholic. And I guess today I just want to talk to him about how he feels about him maybe wavering his faith, maybe how he feels about his kids wavering from their faith too. Yeah.
Strong subject.
Yeah, it is a strong subject, Dad. I guess we'll start with the history and the backstory of it, Dad. So
Yeah.
what made you really want to believe?
Well, I didn't when I was young.
Oh, okay.
When I was young, I had to go to Sunday school because we were refugees.
Mm-hmm.
My parents believed, their parents believed, their parents believed. So it went on generations.
Right.
Catholicism, in a sense, was new into the country probably just 200 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so
JFK really brought it in and made it popular, I think, right?
Well, no, JFK was
it's
actually
Christian.
Well,
Catholic.
JFK was the first Catholic, or
Oh,
the
yeah,
only
Catholic
Catholic.
president.
Well, Biden's Catholic.
Yeah, but he made
Catholicism is a weird kind of
mm-hmm.
deal in that, because when I was young, I didn't believe, I didn't understand,
Right.
because
well, you
I
were
was
a child too.
Well, I got sent to Sunday school where the nuns beat the crap out of you.
Yeah. See how backwards that is? It's crazy.
But also it's kind of like, being Asian.
Yeah, that's
You learn the chants. You learn the I don't know the word I'm looking for. You learn the prayers,
mm-hmm.
but you don't understand the prayers.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of beat into us to learn it, right?
Right.
So I'll tell you a quick story, because I have a lot of stories. I remember the nun. I was probably 7, probably 6. I don't know. And you had to memorize the rosary. And so what people don't know about the rosary is it's the Stations of the Cross.
Mm-hmm.
You had to learn it.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't understand it. We just had to learn how to say it.
And it was in Vietnamese, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And so you had to chant
So
it.
there wasn't any language barrier, right?
No. You had to chant it, meaning that, you had to say it repeatedly so you can memorize it. They never taught me what religion was. Like, why Jesus died on the cross,
Right. Why you're repeating these things over and over.
Yeah, why
and
there's a Virgin Mary, why
Yeah.
nothing.
yeah.
It was more a sense of like, you learned it and they forced you to understand it. So when we first went to church, when we first got into America, we went to church under a basketball goal. Under a
What?
basketball, yeah, in Island Parkway. So the boys sat on one side, the girls sat on one side. It's very secular, meaning that, for us, if you were not Catholic, we were taught you were not good enough,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so, but I never understood that, because you couldn't do no wrong. Meaning that I remember as a kid, the priest would talk about, watching TV, going against your parents. So that's all kind of the way we grew up as, You listened to your parents. You
Mhm.
did whatever your parents said.
Mhm.
Your parents were basically the end all be all of life.
Right.
Meaning that your dad was Jesus, your mom was Virgin Mary type of deal.
Mhm.
And if you didn't listen, you were totally a sinner,
Mhm.
right? And so that's what we were taught. That's what we were taught to believe. Like,
Right.
just imagine yourself. And I would say, hey, did you learn this prayer? And you said no, and I beat the crap out of you.
And then you're like what, 7, 8 years old?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how it was. It wasn't a sense of you had an option.
Yeah.
The option
Think about
was
how backwards that is, though,
the
Dad.
option was you either learn to be religious and
Or
love God,
or I'm gonna be
or
you and
you
do it
die.
anyway.
No,
Yeah.
you die. You were gonna go to hell.
Yeah.
Um, so
Think about that, Dad. They're making you say all this holier stuff, right? Basically, in a lot of words, Jesus, I'm sorry. Thank you for everything, and I love you, right?
yes,
But then if you don't say that chant back, you get
beat.
beat. That's so backwards.
It
you know?
is. Well,
And then
that's
let's
all.
think about
But
this.
that's how they were taught.
Right.
That's how my parents were taught.
Right. Okay. But also think about this, Dad. You said the priest made you think what your mom and dad are the end all be all, right? And you have to listen to everything they say.
Well, your household, yes, was.
right. And it's structured after Joseph and Mary kind of
That's
thing.
right. That's
Okay.
right. That kind of deal. Yeah.
And at the time, your parents were not being the nicest people to you either.
Well, I don't.
And then
think
think about how fucked up that turned your brain around a million
It
times.
did.
You know?
It did. I will tell you. So being Catholic, this is how much it kind of snaked this way or was in my life. You couldn't eat, during Lent. Nobody could eat meat.
No meat, right?
Right.
The filet of fish.
And so we would wait till like midnight. But you gotta understand, we did a crime. We did some crazy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and then I remember we went to a restaurant in Houston, and it's like 11:30
p.m.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and so let's just say that's well, not just say, but it was actually Friday night. We got done what we were doing, right? It was extremely sinful, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we went to a restaurant, and none of us would order meat.
What?
Because we're like, oh shit, it's
Lent.
Friday.
Yeah,
you
no
can't eat
meat.
meat.
But we just got done doing. Some
Yeah,
criminal
you
shit.
got done just just the most obscene shit in the world,
Yeah.
right? Some criminal shit,
That's so backwards, Dad.
right? But
Yeah.
we made it such a habit,
Mm-hmm.
and we were so fearful of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at guys that had, okay, so the word on the street is bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And bodies, for me,
Is how many?
yes.
Yes.
How many that this cat did whatever he had to do,
Mm-hmm.
right? And some of the craziest people in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, because we were Catholic,
They didn't eat meat on Friday.
we didn't eat meat on Friday.
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
Some
Think
of those
about that.
violent against God acts.
Mm-hmm.
And after you're done doing that, you
The Ten Commandments, we did them all.
Yeah.
Right? We went against all the Ten
And
Commandments.
then at the end of it, you get a fillet of fish.
and at the end of it, we order fish because we're like, oh shit, it's
Yeah.
Friday. You can't eat meat, fool.
That's so backwards, Dad.
And we were like 19 years old. We're like, no,
Yeah.
you can't eat meat. No, you can't eat meat.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was one of those things, because we didn't understand.
Yeah.
We didn't understand. We only knew what our parents taught us.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how crazy it is to carry that? To carry that over into your life?
Mm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
To say, you did a crime.
Mm-hmm.
And then just like, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You can't be ordering that shit.
You can't get meat. Yeah.
Then
30 minutes ago, you just
30 minutes ago or an hour
basically
ago,
you're about
it's
to
just
kill
like
somebody
basically like,
or
yes.
something, It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's backwards, Dad. But yeah, I guess that kind of answers my question about the history. So how did you transition from you were Catholic because you were forced to be to you were Catholic because you wanted to be?
I will answer with this. What about you, right? So
Mhm.
I before I answer the question, I want you to think about that same question you have for me. I learned. Uh, I will tell you, right? Um, during the worst part of my life, I had nothing, and I remember sitting in church because that's all I know habitually. I went to church, had no money in my bank account. This is the time when I was divorced with your mom,
Right.
right? And one of my friends who was Baptist was talking about teething, tides. I think it's called tides, where you give money, 10% of what you make.
Oh, to the church, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said something to me. He said, "Look, leave it in God's hands." And I was like, "Whatever, dog. I don't want to say that bullshit." Right?
At
And
this
so,
time, you were
yeah,
totally
I was like,
over.
"Man, that's some
There's
bullshit,
no way
bro."
God's here watching me,
No.
and then for me to
I,
have all
I
my
always believed God watched me, but I just didn't think it was about money.
right. And then, of course, at the darkest moments of your life, it's difficult to believe in something that's not there.
That's right.
You know.
And so, yeah, I sat in church, and in my bank account, I probably had $12.
Holy shit, Dad.
I wrote a check.
This is
For,
what 2009.
yeah, I wrote a check. 2009. I wrote a
Mhm.
check for $100, and I just said, "Fuck it. If you're here, you're here. If you're gonna take care of me, you're gonna take care of me. I'm gonna believe in something at this point, right?"
Wow.
I wrote a check for $100, not having money in the checking account.
Hmm.
Right when I write it, I call my nephew Joey. I say, "Hey, look, I need to borrow some money. Can you go put it in my bank account? Because I just wrote $100 check to the church, and I have no fucking idea how I'm gonna cover it." He said, "Okay, whatever, Unc. You need me, I'm there." Monday, I do something and I get $500. Right? Not anything illegal. I just did something part of my job, and all of a sudden, I get $500, and I'm like,
You were still in the car business at the time, right,
yeah,
Dad?
and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
$500, and I'm fucked. My mind is like,
Hmm.
is there something to being this religious?
Mm.
Did God show me something?
Hmm.
And I've had signs to my life, I just never seen it.
Right.
I had no money, man. I had nothing.
So Sunday you do,
Sunday I did it. Monday I had $500
and then
windfall.
Monday the next day.
So some of us, $500 is good or bad.
Hmm.
You know, it just depends on how much money.
Regardless of
But
the
for me at that
relativity,
time,
though.
$500 was a lot.
Right.
I took it and I put it in the bank account. But Joey already put the money in, my nephew.
Hmm.
And I covered the check. And I won't tell you that day changed me.
But it helped
It helped the path.
give you your faith back, right?
Yes.
The path
I
to
never
your
had faith.
Before that,
I never had faith.
I remember going to church every Sunday, though.
Sure. It's habitual.
Oh.
Well,
Okay.
you went to church after I had faith. After I found it. Right?
I still remember going every Sunday, even when I was a kid, Dad.
No.
Before you and Mom got divorced. I remember going to church every Sunday.
Yeah. Okay, that, yeah, I didn't, we went because it's habitual.
Not because you wanted to be there, right?
I didn't want to be there. I was drunk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was out with my homeboys till whatever Saturday night, dude. I didn't want
Wake
to
up
go to
at 10
church. I
a.m. to
hated
go to
that shit.
church. Yeah.
I hated it
Me too, Dad.
because I felt like it's an hour out of my time.
Mm-hmm.
And when I found that, when that actually happened to me, it changed my perspective
Right.
because it gave me something to believe in. And you know, we always try to look for signs if God is there.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, there's dudes out there, like, there's people out there that pray, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, give me a sign, give me this, give me that.
Mom
Let
does
me,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I will tell you that some of those signs you don't know.
Mm.
And when it happens, I guess. And now I will tell you that for those reasons through the years, I love being Catholic.
Okay. So that answers the question as to why religion can be such a touchy subject to talk about then.
It is.
Because
Because
personally for you, in the darkest moments of your life, that's when it was there for you.
well,
Right.
yes.
That's why it means so much to people.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
there was nobody there.
exactly. And that I empathize with that, and I totally understand that, Dad.
Well,
And I get it.
yeah, the identity is like when you're looking at it, right? Like for you,
Mm.
you have us.
Mm-hmm.
I had nothing.
Yeah, that's what's different, Dad.
I had nothing and nobody. What saved me was that sign. Now, I don't know it's happenstance. I don't know if it's fucking,
Yeah,
it just happens.
coincidental or
Yeah.
whatever.
What I do know
Is that it
is when I
helped
had
you.
nothing,
Yeah.
my faith
Helped.
helped.
Yeah.
And, you know, how can you take that away from me?
Mm-hmm.
Because every man's belief is different.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, now God is just a word, right?
Yeah. It's very different now, Dad.
It is.
I don't know I barely know anybody that's religious like that.
It's hard,
Yeah.
right? For y'all.
We're a very cynical generation too.
Because you question
Yeah.
everything.
Exactly. And there's
I
nothing wrong.
question. Is there anything wrong with
skepticism is great.
that? Sure.
Right.
But I was the same person. I
You were.
asked the same questions.
Mm-hmm.
I went through the same footsteps.
Mm-hmm.
But is there for you? Is there a higher being?
For me, Dad, I think so. The ironic part is that you guys sent me to Catholic school, right? Hopefully,
I did.
And yes, you did. In hopes that maybe I would become a better Catholic, right? I mean, regardless of the education, I'm sure a little bit of you,
Sure.
as a Catholic parent, wanted your child to be a devout Catholic, right? And a part of me, you know, tangles and tosses and turns with that idea. But the ironic part, Dad, is that the more that I learned about Catholicism and everything that, you know, it stands for, I love what the religion stands for, and I love what you raised me to be, Dad. But, you know, the more I learned about it, I just felt, I don't know, I just couldn't really see myself.
Is there a God for you?
There is. I don't know what it is. And I think to say that mine's is the right one versus yours or Donna's, who happens to be Buddhist, my brother's girlfriend, you know, she's not Catholic.
But is there a God for you in a sense of when you're reaching out, do you feel there's
got to be something out there, Dad. There's
but
got
I
to be
mean,
some
for
higher
somebody
power.
with that what's the word?
Skepticism.
Skepticism for you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And as much as people out there say, hey, God has done this for me. God has done this. God has done that. I have proof. I have this and that. What is it for y'all's age? What is the difference? You know what I mean? And from what I'm saying, it's like if you're looking at your parents, you're saying, oh, yeah, they believe in this and that, but I don't. As long as I live a good life, I'm pretty good. I believe in God. I just don't know what it is, but I believe in God. What is it for y'all that is the difference? You know what I mean? I mean, is it because your parents made you, or
I think
what
part
is
of
it?
is that. I think it's the.
Is it rebellious?
I don't want to consider myself to be a rebellious person.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, but I think a part of me is pushed away from it because of it being forced onto me for so long, you know. I think maybe it could have developed organically. I'm not sure. It's just that everything that I've learned, like, see, to me, I think saying that you're a Catholic requires so much work. Like, basically when you boil down Catholicism, right, Dad, all it is treat your neighbor how you want to be treated, and make sure you give thanks to Jesus and God, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
I mean, if you really boil it down to the bones of what it is.
But are you looking at it that way?
Yeah. And I want to look at it that way, because if I don't, then I'm going to hate it. Because if I don't, Dad, I look at it all the stuff that they taught me.
But you don't go to church, right?
No.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
I used to.
Why?
Twice a week. I used to go twice a week.
Because we force you.
Yeah, twice a week. I went Tuesday for school.
Yeah.
And then Sunday because of the family.
So what is the difference then and now? For your age, for the people like you.
Never gave me any. The reason why I feel like we're supposed to go, Dad, is you dedicate an hour of your day to congregate with other people and worship Jesus, but also to get spiritual enrichment, right? And 99% of the time, I don't get anything out of it except for the 5 to 8 minute homily when the priest gives that speech, right?
My question
then other
is,
than that, it just feels like a waste of time.
What are you looking for?
I'm not really looking for anything, Dad. I think my spiritual journey is not something I'm too worried about. I think I do believe in God, and I do believe that Jesus was a real person and that he was a great person.
Well, yes. Besides all that,
but
then what are you? Because faith is something that's not in the homily today. I will tell you. You know, we went to church.
Went to church today.
Yes,
right.
In the homily today, he was talking about faith. The priest was talking about faith, and that faith shouldn't be emotional.
Shouldn't?
Well, yes,
should not be emotional?
Should not be, because you have faith when it's needed. I mean, if you're dying, right? And
that's when you say, "Dear God, help me."
Yeah,
right.
Or if you're in trouble, or if you need help, right? You're praying. Oh my God, I need. And then the thing is, I've always been spiritual. I've always been this and that. But I think faith is habitual. Faith is something that happens every day. Faith is something that you live with during bad, good, or in different times. That you believe.
That's strong faith, though, Dad.
Yes,
some people.
But
it's not as strong.
But I'm just saying faith, strong or not. I'm just saying faith in general. The word in itself, right? Because if I ask you, hey, look, do you believe in God? Yeah. So you have faith in God, right? But what I'm talking about is the everyday, the every minute, the every second.
The thanks and the...
It's like, when you have a bad day, are you still faithful? And most people are not.
Yeah.
Because in your darkest times, you're lashing out or you're buying in. You know what I mean? You're like, in your darkest times, either you're saying, hey, you're not helping me, so forget it. Or you're like, please, 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 God, help me.
Yeah.
And I think, for me, that's wrong. Faith is an everyday occurrence.
Even when shit is good. Even when...
shit is good or bad, you should have faith.
Right. And I agree with you, Dad.
you know.
That is
And so
true.
for somebody like you being young,
Mm-hmm.
my question is, who do you look to when times are bad? You can't just say, hey, I believe in God and I need God right now because my life sucks, because you can't just use it. This is the way I believe it. You can't just use it whenever you want.
Right. And I agree with you,
So,
Dad.
so what is it?
When shit hits the fan for me,
What if shit doesn't hit the
um,
fan? You're cool with it.
I don't know. I think I'm at a stable place pretty often. When shit is bad, I'm not really thinking about anything religious wise. I don't know. I tend to lean on and depend on the people that are in my life. It
Sure,
feels
because they're here.
right, exactly, and they're more tangible.
Yeah.
And it's something that I have the luxury. I guess you could say it's a luxury. I don't think it's very much a luxury, but a bare necessity. But having a support system and a strong family and
But don't you
friends to
think
lean
God
on.
put that in front of you?
I don't know. That's a good question. I
Your
think.
life, okay. Not to cut you off.
Mhm.
The way you live now, right? Don't you think, and do you think, not don't you think, right? But do you think that there's a spiritual hand in it to where you live a better life than your parents?
But I don't give the gratitude to him, but more so just to you and mom.
But we are representative of them, right? Of who is greater than us. Does that make sense?
It does. But
Because you say, hey, your parents gave you the opportunity to live a pretty good lifestyle.
I'm thankful for you and mom.
But
Dad.
for your parents, for me and
And you and
mom,
mom are grateful for.
because we say that God put us there,
Right. That's very different.
right? But where is that line? Where is that line for you, right? Because if you didn't have all this, you would be like, why did God do this to me, and why did my parents suck?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I never thought of that. I when I was young, living in the streets, I never prayed. I never said that my parents were horrible people, my family, whatever. I just accepted the fact of this is my life and it'll be better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I guess that's where my faith comes in. Is that when I had nothing, I believed that God was going to give me a way out. And so my belief, if you name it, it'll be called being Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
But let's not name it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say religion. Let's just say it's God and you. When I had truly nothing, I believed that there was a way out.
And God was the light at the end of that tunnel for you, right?
Yeah.
Right. But I've also never had nothing, Dad.
But that's what I'm asking is
Yeah.
that, don't you think that he put you
In
in
an
this
amazing
life
spot.
because of the way he treated your parents?
I mean, that is a great way to phrase a good question, Dad.
And this is for the guys out there that, or not the guys, it's just for everybody that wants to say, hey, what is it like to really believe? What is it like to say, hey, I want to believe, or I don't believe, or, what is it? What's the proof?
Mm-hmm.
Can you find a proof?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And
For somebody like you being
I'm not-
21, come on.
I'm
Right?
not thinking about proof like science, like there's no God in space.
Okay.
Like that's not how I think about it, Dad. I know that at every religion, everything is on a spiritual level. And, me being an Asian person, I do believe that there is a spiritual world. And I think that there is an afterlife, right? But
Do you?
I do. I do.
So if you're a good person, you go to heaven, and you're a bad person, you go to hell.
I don't know if it's that black and white. That's a good question, Dad. But
I would tell you what my homeboys used to tell me.
hmm.
He would always say, when we die, we'll probably go to hell. But I don't know what the fucking devil's going to do with us. Because he'll probably be scared.
That's what he would tell you, Dad.
Yeah.
Where is he now?
Jail 30 years.
Damn.
That's what he would say. We weren't scared of death. I never... Like, if I died today, right? I accept it.
Hmm.
Like, I'm good with it. I don't really... Because I've lived my whole life that way.
Would you say you live every day like it's your last day?
No,
try
because
to?
I haven't really been where I wanted to be. But if I die today, I'd be okay with it. I'm not going to bemoan it. I'm not going to cry about it. I'm not going to... because I accept it. I've accepted since I was a kid.
Hmm.
So death, to me, is just a part of living. And that's how we ran. That's how we lived. But the contradiction is that I still believe in God. I still believe in a higher power. I still believe that He has something better for me.
I like to believe like that too, Dad.
But why not, right? Because there's people out there, and, out of our 3 listeners,
I don't think
I have no idea. Right. But, I mean, what is it that, as a young man of your, you're 21, you lived a pretty good life.
Very good.
Why is it that you can't have that faith?
I don't know. I think honestly, Dad, I disagree with organized religion just as a whole. Okay. Not even just Catholicism.
But that's a subject, right? That's a subject. Yeah.
Right. But
let's get into that. Why do you believe?
And
why do you
Islam
think
and all that stuff? I think it's crazy that people kill each other and yell at each other and fight each other over whose religion is right. And I think it's so backwards.
But is that not an individual?
And hypocritical to do that. I mean, okay. Well, what do you mean by that?
Okay, let me ask you. Okay, I mean that by this. Everybody has their own thoughts and their own actions.
Absolutely.
And
I feel like
if there's let's just say, there's
a million religions out there, Dad.
There's a lot. Then every religion is wrong. Every religion is right, and I understand that. Because it's a basis of acceptance, right? Whoever that you are accepted in, you go for. Meaning that, for you, you're not trying to find a religion, but let's just say you fall in love or you find a friend that influenced you to be Buddhist, and you're like, you know what? This whole Catholic thing is crazy. Because what I've learned being Buddhist is this, that, and that. And I'm not Buddhist, so I have no idea. Or you say, look, I still believe in God, but I'm a Baptist now. Right?
So many categories, Dad.
It is. It is.
I just like to say that I believe in something and be a good person. And
is it that easy?
Good things will come to you.
Is it that easy?
Good. I mean, boil it down. If you look at all the messages from the Bible, if you look at all the teachings of Jesus, everything from Gospel,
here's the question:
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Do you know it?
The Bible?
Yeah.
Dad, you sent me to school for 6 years.
Well, I don't know. I don't know the Bible like you know it.
I do know the Bible.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, what does the teachings tell you? Right? Because I don't know. Like, I've never read the Bible.
So the Bible is just a bunch of metaphorical, well, according to Catholics, right? We take none of the stories literally. Everything is a metaphor for just being a good person. So I feel like that's basically all that it is about. It's just about being a good person. It's about spreading goodness into the world, and it's going to come back to you. And then, of course, the Jesus and the God aspect of it. But yeah, the bones of Catholicism and organized religion in general, I would argue to say all religions, you boil everything down, and it all comes down to just be a good person. And that is what I agree with. All religions have different interpretations of like the afterlife and stuff. And you can choose whatever you want to believe. But yeah, I think it's crazy to think that one God exists and the other doesn't, and one's God is better than the other. And yeah, I don't know. It just, so I guess all in all, I would say that I'm not deterred away from Catholicism, but organized religion as a whole, Dad. And from what I've learned from all the schooling that you've put me through, I've taken, don't get me wrong, I've taken some lessons from the teachings of Jesus, and I've taken some lessons from the Bible. And I do implement some of that into my life, Try not to judge other people. Everybody's going through a human experience. Everybody's going through the same shit. We all got bad shit, and just be nice to each other. And I feel like that's what religion is all about. And that's what I've taken from it, and that's what I want to do. And the reason why I say I'm not Catholic is because to be considered Catholic, you got to do all this other stuff. You got to go to church. You got to go to confession. You got to get married in the church. You got to get confirmed. You got to get baptized. You got to get your first communion, Bible study.
Would you say you're a good person?
I think so.
Okay. No, I agree with that. I know that you are because you're my son. Right.
I think you've raised me to be one, Dad. Yeah.
Religion is a weird...
it's a tough deal, Dad.
It's a tough deal because, we want you to be Catholic, right?
And I know you do, Dad.
And the thing is, we want to define it. Does that make sense? We want to say, well, my son goes to church every day. He's Catholic. He did this and that. And that's the way it should be. But does religion make you a better person?
Oh, goodness. I think so. At the end of the day,
you think so?
Again, it's a moral code. But I also think it can make you a worse person.
Well, I mean, if you see the news with the Taliban and all the craziness, and they're so...
Well, those are very extreme Islam
But
groups.
they're religious.
Technically, yeah. That's what I'm saying. It could
so,
also
but
make
when you
a
say
worse
like
person.
religion makes you a better person...
Because at the end of the day, Dad, it's a moral code.
Yeah, but their moral...
Yeah.
What makes their moral code different than ours?
They're willing to terrorize and kill other people.
Sure, but if they believe that what their moral code says to kill a person doesn't believe, and they kill, like, you're like, hey, bro, you don't believe in what I believe in my book, the Bible, or my book, whatever, the Quran, or my book. Buddhists don't have a book, or whatever religion that is says, hey, bro, you don't believe.
Right.
And I got to kill you.
Yeah.
And then I'll go to heaven, or I'll go to whatever that is the best place in my life after I die. What makes it different? But you see what I mean?
I get
why is it wrong?
Why is it wrong? Crazy question right now, Dad. You're asking me whose morals are correct, and that is a.
It's but what I'm saying is
it's a good question.
But it goes back to being religious,
100%.
right? It goes back to how I was. Now I will tell you that I'm a moderate Catholic.
Yeah, you're not fully in the.
No, I mean I'm a moderate Catholic, right? In every sense of the word. Me and Mom are moderate.
Maybe a little bit above. You guys go every Sunday.
We go every Sunday because we want to.
Yes.
Right? And so, what makes it wrong?
Nothing. I never said it was wrong.
No. I'm not talking about me being moderate, but what makes religion wrong? Because you can point out all the stuff that everybody else does, right? And God plays a role. And it's like, the thing is like, if you believe in God, if God is good, then why are people dying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why is there suffering?
I mean, if you want to get into this, Dad, there's a whole story about it in the Bible that I can tell you about if you want to know.
Then what is it? I don't know.
So
I don't understand the Bible. I don't.
there's a book in the Bible. I believe it's in the Old Testament. It's called the Book of Job.
And you learned this in school?
Yes.
All right.
It's the Book of Job. And Job is basically this super rich dude, and he's got like all these kids and a beautiful wife and like a big ass farm, and he's just like, he's fucking loaded, and he's like the king of,
whatever,
everything.
Yeah.
He's not a king, but he's very, very happy and well off. And he's very devout to God, and he gives praise and thanks all the time. He sacrifices things to the Lord all the time. And basically one day, Satan and God are like, God is like bored. It's like metaphorical, but basically he's like, I'm bored and I kind of want to test.
Let's pick somebody.
Let's pick someone to see whose faith is strong, right? So he picks Job, and Satan is like, okay, I bet you I can get him to stop worshiping you. And then God is like, well, no. Well, let's see, kind of thing. So he gives Job's wife cancer, and she dies in like a week. All his kids die. His entire farm rots. He loses all his money because he gets robbed. And at the end of it, God is basically like, or Job is like, he's still faithful.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
and then,
you taking everything.
Right. And there's a straw that breaks the camel's back. I can't remember what happens. I think he gets remarried, has kids with a new person, and then they all die too.
Okay.
It's fucked up, Dad.
Yeah.
And then at that point,
so he's fucked.
Yes. And at that point, he's like, okay, I'm done. Like, this is, I can't do this anymore.
This religion or this.
Yeah. He's like, I'm over it. God, I can't believe you do this to me. Like, I'm so faithful to you.
Like, you fucked me.
Yeah. And then basically God is like, sorry,
sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, my bad. I was just testing your faith. Right.
Yeah.
And then he ends up giving him a whole new life and a bunch of different stuff. But I mean, of course I just gleamed over it, but it's very dark, Dad. I mean, he gets like leprosy.
Job was in the mouth of a whale.
No, it was Jonah.
Jonah
was in the mouth of a whale. Get out of here, dude. Little dog. But yeah. Yeah, and it's a crazy ass story, Dad.
So Job, God gave him his life back?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's how it went. I haven't read it since high school. But that was one of the stories, one of the books that we had to interpret. And, man, it's crazy, Dad. It's a crazy one.
So God took everything.
Yes.
Or between him and Satan.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if Satan even had anything to do with it. I just think he was, like, trying to see what was going to happen. He's in the story, though. I do remember him being in the story.
But he had faith.
Job had faith for a while. Yeah.
And he lost his faith.
He loses it. And then God is like, you actually are a much stronger... Your faith is a lot stronger than I thought. You lasted way longer than I thought. I'm going to pay you back, kind of thing. But
he lost his original wife.
He lost his original wife, his entire family, his entire farm, remarries, loses.
And he falls in love again.
And then all of them die, and all his kids die with that second lady, too.
Yeah. And the third one.
I think is okay. I don't remember. I haven't read the story in a long time, Dad.
So my question is, how is that better?
I don't know. That's the thing. It's crazy. That's the thing about the Bible. It's all metaphorical. It's all over the place, Dad.
Yeah, but I mean, in our life, right? Job got fucked.
He got fucked up. Hard body.
Twice.
Yes.
Third time's the charm.
Yeah, I mean, loses his entire family and all his money.
Everything. Rebuild.
Yeah.
But his faith says what?
His faith wavered, and he said...
Did he waver or did he lose?
He lost it.
He lost the faith.
Yeah. I mean...
And God came back and said, bro.
Sorry.
My bad.
Yeah, you're a lot stronger than I thought. Here's everything back. New
wife.
Yeah. It's a crazy story, Papa. But,
Well, I mean, is that not the same?
Yeah.
With me when I got divorced?
Not to say that your wife and kids died.
But I
You
lost
know, but you
everything.
did lose everything, and in a way, you did lose your wife and kids too.
Yeah, I lost everything.
And
And
you
it came
know,
back.
and it came back. So maybe,
Better.
and that's the thing about the Bible, right? You know,
But is
thing
that
about
not faith?
Catholicism, that is faith.
But that's the question, right?
Mm.
Is that not faith? For somebody like me that lived this life the way I lived it, got divorced, lost everything
Yeah.
by choice. By choice.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it was like, oh, I'm a, God said this and that. It was one of those happens. Lowest point in my life.
The darkest point in your life, right?
Sure, but I got everything back.
You did. You did, Dad. That's a story for you to resonate with. Absolutely.
So my faith,
Saved you, I think.
I no, I know.
But then again, that's your faith, right?
But what about for you, y'all's age? Is it because you're waiting for something to be bad
I
to
don't
have
know.
faith?
I mean, bad shit happens all the time.
But what I'm saying is,
You
being
know?
21, are you waiting for something to be bad before you have faith?
I don't think so, Dad. I think that I still pray. I pray every time I pass the cemetery. I pray.
Is that habitual?
No. I mean, genuinely, when I, when you're driving on the country road and you
Sure.
see like a cross in the dirt, and
You pray for the
you
souls.
pray for the soul, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of if I'm Catholic or not, I'm gonna do that
Yeah.
because I would want someone to pray for me whenever I die. You know, so I pray for their soul that it rests
So
peacefully.
you want somebody to pray for your soul when you die. And
Yeah.
you want the same.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's Catholic or whatever, but
But why can't faith play a role in your life?
I don't know, Dad.
Is it because it defines you? Because
No.
like being
I'm
Catholic.
okay for the label of being Catholic, but I just don't. I think there's a lot that comes with it, and I've been dealing with it my entire life, so it kind of just drives me away from the whole thing. I mean, it's kind of like you, Dad. I mean, not to say that I got beat to no prayers, but you know, you weren't Catholic for a long time either. Now, were you on paper Catholic, go to church every Sunday? Yeah. But did you want to be there, and was your faith strong? I don't think so.
It's more habitual.
Right.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, I think that, I guess in my journey of spirituality and religion, I'm in the same spot. When you were also 20. You know? Because you weren't eating meat on Friday out of habit. Not because
Yes.
not because
It was out of habit.
It wasn't because of like, you know, oh, I want
It's out of habit.
I want to be a good Catholic for Jesus,
Yes, it was out of habit.
you know. So
I didn't
guess I'm
understand.
there
I didn't
now.
understand it like the way you understand it.
Right. And the
You
more,
know?
and ironically, the more that I did understand it, the more I felt like, man, maybe this isn't for me,
Okay.
you know? And again, too, Dad, Catholicism, I think religion is such a personal thing. To label it one thing and then have everybody share
But why
that
do you
label,
feel that way?
because it is. You've told me personally you feel that way, too. You said you don't pray the way you're supposed to pray. You don't pray the way that other
I don't. I talk
Catholics
to God
pray.
every day.
And you
That's
talk
right.
to him in a weird way. Right.
Yeah, that's my homeboy.
Exactly. Now, can you imagine other people hearing that and like, oh my God, you don't worship him in his holy name and in this way and address him in sir and whatever, right? It to you, it's a very personal relationship.
Yes.
And so for me, I feel like it's crazy to label something so personal and then have it be like, oh, me and my personal journey. I'm going to go into this building with all these other people and their personal journey, and we're all going to be labeled the same thing together. I just feel like it doesn't make any sense.
For you,
Yeah.
you think y'all's age group is that way?
I don't know. I think so. I don't know a lot of people that are Catholic. I don't know a lot of people that are religious. And I think some of the people that I do know that are, they're kind of annoying. I think I think their religion is very annoying. That's
They
another
push
reason
it?
why. Huh?
They push it on you?
Yeah.
Or?
I have a cousin. I don't want to say my cousin's name
Yes.
because that's fucked up. But I have a cousin that's very religious. And I remember I was telling him about something that happened, and it was supposed to be really fucked up, but a few years later it ended up being really good, right? Something happened personal with my family.
Yeah.
And I told him about all that, and then he goes, "You know, I knew that was going to happen to you. I prayed that was going to happen to you, and I knew it." I'm like, "Bro, what? Like, that's so, like, what the fuck are you trying to say, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm telling you about this good news, and then here you come like, oh, I knew that was going to happen. I prayed for it to happen, and I knew it."
Yeah, like
He
hindsight's
he did
2020.
it.
Yeah.
Like, it was him that caused
Yeah.
it, you know? Not us working hard as a family to stick together
Yeah.
and all that trauma that we went through and whatever, you know? So, yeah, the people that I know that are religious, I tend not to really get along with them very well. I feel like it's just so shallow to be like, yeah, I knew that was going to happen, or, you know, this. So, I don't know. But we've been recording for about 50 minutes, Dad.
Wow.
That flew by in a snap of a finger.
It's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, that flew by very fast.
That was a good subject.
Yeah, that was a very good subject. I feel like we got really good, stuff to talk about, Bob.
There's probably more in that.
Yeah? What do you think?
I do. I think that there is more to talk about when it comes to religion and faith and spirituality and how much you really believe.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think everybody has a different way
Mm-hmm.
because of the things that happen to you individually.
Right. It's very personal.
It is a very personal thing. And I think that, hearing it from a 21-year-old compared to a 50-year-old,
Mm-hmm.
father and son, we're just kind of kicking it back and forth. How do you feel? How do I feel?
Mm-hmm.
I think that if you say, hey, can you talk about this? Can you touch on this or that? Whoever's listening, we are not experts.
Not at all.
When it comes to that. It's
Yeah.
it's a personal experience thing.
Everything is. Specifically religion.
Yeah.
Right.
I will tell you that, do I want my son to be a devout Catholic?
Of
Because
course.
I am. Yes.
Why wouldn't you be, And I can't blame you for feeling that way, Dad.
it's a beautiful thing for me. It's a beautiful
Right.
thing.
It's like being a doctor and then your son becomes a doctor.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, or like it's like LeBron James going to the NBA and then both of his sons go to the NBA.
I think it's the same line.
It's kind of like
Yeah.
that same thing, You want your kids to follow in your footsteps.
Yeah, you do.
Of course.
Because you want them to ultimately, have a common ground.
Right.
I think religion is more of a common ground,
Mhm.
right? As parents or as I am, I want my kids to believe because my life has been really fruitful because of my belief.
Mhm.
In the crazy, not the crazy thing, but that's what I believe.
Mhm.
I want my kids to go back to the church. I want my grandson
Yeah.
to go back to
I want Abel to get his first communion too, Dad.
Yeah, but why? See, is that not weird
I
for
don't know.
you?
I'm not even Catholic.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
I
why
am,
would you?
but-
Why would you want that? Because I wanted selfish reasons
Selfish
for me
reasons
and
as well, 'cause
for me and mom.
I went to Catholic school to get my
All
first
your
communion.
siblings have
Sunday
first communions.
church school. I'm sorry, church school. And yeah, we might not all be confirmed, but we're all got your first communion.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know. I guess it's just important to me that he learns some morals.
But why?
And things like that.
But why?
I don't know. Another thing too, Dad. I don't know if it's too great because I was telling Megan recently that I was very Catholic for a very long time.
That's right.
For a very long time. Basically,
right.
up until I started going to Catholic school, I started thinking differently about it. But before that, I was very Catholic, Dad. I got my
Why
first
do you want your
communion.
nephew to have his first communion?
Selfish reasons.
Which is?
I just want him to. I want him to go through what I went through, in the sense of like good stuff. You know, I think it's good to learn about that kind of thing. And it would just be so cool to see him get it. So I don't know, Dad.
So it's out of the parameters of really being faithful. It's more selfish, right?
Yeah. Not that I want to pass on the Catholicism to him. That's not really my place to say either. So, I don't know. But I know he's baptized.
Yeah.
At the very least.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Paid for a priest to do it.
Yeah, we did. You know what's crazy, Dad?
What?
In the Catholic Church, if you have a child that is baptized, but they don't have their first communion by the time they're 7, if they die, they go to heaven automatically, right? But after you turn 7, it's kind of like up in the air. Like, we don't really know.
Is that not weird?
I don't know.
Like, who the hell
That's the thing,
really?
right? Like, who knows? That's the thing about Catholicism. It's like, it's just a bunch of old white dudes making up all these rules.
Why they gotta be white dudes?
I know. It always is, though. They're all in Vatican City, Dad. All the cardinals.
Uncle Mike would like that.
Yeah, the white man holding them down. See, Unc? The white man's holding you down. It's weird, though. It's just a bunch of old white men in Vatican City. They're all Italian. And they just make up all these weird rules.
That they've never been to heaven themselves.
No.
Because you would have to die.
Yeah. And who knows even if they go there?
Who knows if heaven exists?
Who knows if that is even a thing either? Uncle Mike died, and he said he doesn't remember shit.
3 times.
Yeah. He doesn't remember a single thing.
No light.
Yeah. And he doesn't remember a single thing of it. So.
And he's happy as hell to be alive.
Yeah. He's jumping out of planes now. All right, Papa.
All right.
That's a good place to end it. Yeah.
Ba.Con.
Yeah. Episode 6.
6.
Yeah.
Woo.
Kind of creepy. We talked about Catholicism today, and the number was 6. I don't know.
Why is that creepy?
It's the devil's number, Dad, from the Bible.
Oh.
7 is Jesus' number. It's one after.
Is
4
it?
is the bad luck number in Asia. I don't know.
We'll talk about Jesus number 7.
Yeah, we'll bring it up again.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you,
Yup.
Uncle.
So.
Yeah, gup so. Good night, guys.